What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM pregame live. Phillies Marlins wild card round game 2. It is win or go home for the Miami Marlins tonight as the Phillies look to clinch yet another NLDS berth to take on the Atlanta Braves this upcoming weekend. We are streaming to you guys live exclusively through DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube channel tonight. I am one half of your host, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, whatever you got to do. It is the best spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here on the screen with your host. My man, what is going on? Obviously, we broke down game 1 on the Faithful Fanatic show this morning, but a huge elimination game tonight.
Yes, sir. I'm feeling real good. I'm feeling real confident. I've even had the opportunity to whip out my Knowles jersey.
There you go.
Tonight. So we're throwing that on tonight for the vibes.
Go ahead.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling confident in Nola. At the end of the day, he played pretty well early on in the postseason last year.
He did.
So he has a good track record in that regard. Once he finally got into October baseball last year, it was more or less late into the postseason where he struggled.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling the high vibes, and I know there's been a lot of talk around Nola coming into this game, but all the pressure, everything is in his ballpark tonight, right? He's at home. There's nothing to be scared of tonight against these Marlins. You're the one with the experience, but yeah, I'm feeling good. I'll stop right there because I know we got the whole game to get into. I know we're going to talk about Nola a whole bunch. But yeah, wanted to start it off with a bang, show my confidence in the number 2 ace tonight that's going to be on the mound for the Fightins and hopefully close this thing out for us. But yeah, man, I'm happy to be here, break it all down with you because I'm hella excited.
I think it's a great starting point. Let's start with that pitching matchup tonight. We're going to get into keys to victory. We're going to take a look at the Phillies lineup card. We're going to give our best bet and game predictions. But let's start with the man of the hour, and that is number 27, Mr. Aaron Nola. And the man could literally have a novel written about him, about his time here in Philadelphia. Early on in his career, you had all the September struggles, all the September woes, not only for him, but this team as a whole, missing out on postseason after postseason the last couple of years since Bryce Harper had come over from Washington, right? And then you get to last year, and it was like a resurrection of Aaron Nola. He was great in September. He was great early on in the postseason, and then him and Zach Wheeler, both fatigue, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to chalk it up as, both seem to get tired, their arms worn out, and Aaron Nola kind of declined once they reached the NLCS round of that postseason run last October. Obviously, you get to this year. He turns down Dombrowski's offer. I'm going to bet on myself. And he has maybe statistically all around his worst season as a Philadelphia Phillies starter, man. So up and down, so back and forth, but a lot more negatives and downs than there were positives this year throughout Aaron Nola's starts. However, he's been very, very solid his last 2 starts. Now, you could chalk that up to competition, right? You played the Pittsburgh Pirates last game, whatever you want to call it. This is a different game, different atmosphere, different opponent. But you can build off of that, right? And I'll start by saying this. This is by far, without a doubt, the biggest start in Aaron Nola's career.
Yeah.
By far. He pitched in the World Series last year. It does not matter to this point. When you bet on yourself the way he did, and you don't get the result you were looking for. Aaron Judge bet on himself last year. Aaron Judge
rightfully
broke
so.
an AL record for home runs hit.
Yeah.
Aaron Nola got the complete opposite of what Aaron Judge did production-wise when betting on himself. So with that said, you look, how can he right the ship? It starts tonight with the biggest start of his career tonight, man. And I saw you tweet it out. You got the jersey on. You're saying you're confident. WIP put out a poll. I believe it's WIP. I could be wrong. Talking about your confidence level in Aaron Nola tonight. How are you feeling? Just for you, there doesn't need to be stats to back it up. There doesn't need to be any proof. Just gut feel. Does he show up tonight?
Yeah, I think he does, man. And it is. It's literally going off instinctual feeling, gut feeling when I say that tonight, because in reality, you look at the numbers against the Marlins this season, they're not good, right? 6.75 ERA in 3 appearances. The most latest one, you could argue it was probably the worst showing that he had. Got out of there. I think he was only out there for
Yeah, it was bad.
4.1 innings or something like that. So definitely the worst showing of the 3 matchups that he appeared in. But I'm going off of my instinctual, my gut feeling here, is that Aaron Nola is going to come down to the mound and he's going to perform. And the only reason that I'm operating like that, and I'll take a page out of your guest on our show the other day, and Connor Thomas. It's not necessarily, that Aaron Nola is the most consistent pitcher in the world, right? He's never that, right? He's never that. We would love it if he could be consistently good. That would change his narrative a good bit. But he does have a very high ceiling as a pitcher in this league. And with that said, I think this has all been built up for him to have this moment right here. And you said it. It's the biggest game in his career. I don't think it's the biggest game necessarily for him as a Philly, right? You talk about the World Series. You can argue those games are bigger than this being in the wild card round, but it is the biggest game in his career when you're talking about him betting on himself. He's in a contract year. He's had a down regular season. So you have to make your money right here in front of the national audience. And what better way to do it than in the postseason against the Marlins at home? You get to start your postseason like this. So, yes, it's all gut feeling because the numbers really don't support it. You can look at the numbers career-wise. It'll make it look a little bit better in Aaron Nolan's favor against some of these batters. But nonetheless, I just have a feeling that Aaron Nola is going to show up with his best stuff tonight because why wouldn't he? He should be refreshed. He should be ready to go for the postseason. And he knows his money is on the line. His career, his next contract is on the line tonight, starting tonight. And you got to get started on the right foot, man. So, yeah, I'm going to say I'm very, very confident in him, but there is always going to be that level of doubt that comes with Aaron Nola. I mean, it's got to be there if you're realistic. There is a level of doubt that comes with him, but I'm probably as confident as I have ever been in Aaron Nola for about 2 years now. Let me say that. Probably as confident as I've ever been.
I think it's important to highlight, like you said about the fact that pitching in front of the national audience in the postseason, what better way to drive your price up and resurrect your season, right? And it's not just any playoff game.
No,
it's an elimination game. Not for us, for them. And I know with that kind of comes some relaxation, a little less stress than if the Phillies were down and it was win or go home for the Phillies. I understand that. But when you look at it, from the outside, from under a microscope is what I meant to say, instead of magnifying this game, you have to look at it and say, this is Aaron Nola's chance to put this team away because anything can happen in a game 3. Anything can happen with Ranger Suarez versus whoever they would throw out on the mound tomorrow night. You want to put this team away tonight. You want to put away this inexperienced, youthful, a lesser talented ball club tonight. You do not want to give them an inkling of a chance of a thought that they are going to pull this thing out. And that's why it starts and ends with Aaron Nola. 110%, man. You have to get the job done tonight.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I'm confident albeit in a guy like Ranger Suarez in a game 3. That's not to say we're not confident that the Phillies can win with Ranger Suarez on the mound. But what does that say about Nola being your number 2 if he can't get it done tonight and then we have to rely on the next guy? You shouldn't let it come down to that. He should make his mark tonight. You saw what Wheels was able to do last night. He is that certified number 1 ace. But if you want to remain the number 2 in this unit, in this lineup, in this pitching staff, you got to show up tonight.
If you want to be back here next year.
If you want to be back here. If you want to be competing for championships.
You want to be back in this city next year and playing
if you love this team. If you love this team, you're going to come out and put out your best stuff. We know it's all mental with him, man. He's got all the talent in the world.
Yeah, no, I think he shows up tonight, man. Let's take a look at this lineup card posted by Rob Thompson. It is the exact same as last night versus the lefty Braxton Garrett on the mound for the Marlins. Kyle Schwarber DHing leading off. Trey Turner at shortstop batting second. Alec Boehm batting third over at third base. Bryce Harper cleaning up at first. JT catching, batting fifth. Nick Castellanos batting sixth in right field. Bryson Stott seventh at second base. Christian Pache over Brandon Marsh in left field. I'm sure you'll see Brandon Marsh at some point tonight if a right-hander comes up in his inning. And Johan Rojas is rounding out that order out in center field. I like it. I like the fact that Topper is sticking to his guns. We went out on a limb last night and backed Topper with our best bet. Christian Pache over half a hit, -120. Obviously, even got the early tug, like we said, with Marsh versus the righty. But he was able to get an RBI single in his couple innings played there. And I like it. The numbers back it. It's not like Topper is just going full righties versus a left-handed pitcher. Bryson Stott's still being thrown out there. Kyle Schwarber's still leading off. He's pushing the right buttons, and I think he's going to push it again tonight, man. So I have no problems with this lineup. I have no problems, again, with Bohm above Harper. And the thing that we didn't point out last night that I think was very well done by Topper and pointed out by the ESPN broadcast, one of the very few things that they did well last night, can't stand it, is the way that with this left-handed approach that Miami's going with, not only in their starters, but what they have in the bullpen, the way he's broken this order up to where you can't go to the pen and find that soft spot. You have lefty broken up by two righties, lefty broken up by two righties, lefty broken up by two righties. That's the way of the order, man. So you can't get around it and find, that matchup, that left-handed matchup you want to get to in the 7th or 8th inning out of the bullpen, the way that Rob Thompson has designed this lineup this series.
Yeah, let's give another clap for Rob Thompson last night, pressing all the right buttons. That's something, that I didn't even notice up until you said that there. I didn't even hear it on the broadcast last night, but it makes sense. And, just going off what we saw last night, it makes sense that you come out with the same lineup against another lefty. And hopefully these guys can show up again, but I would like to beg the side that we don't even need to rely on some of the guys at the bottom of this lineup, and that the big bats show up tonight and that our stars show out tonight. We didn't get the best from Kyle Schwarber, right? We didn't get the best from Bryce Harper, even going against lefties. And I expect more tonight, to say the least. So, yeah, I'm more than fine with this lineup. And I'm sure, as you said, we'll see Marsh at some point in this game.
Yeah, man. Let's get into our keys to victory tonight. We went over Aaron Nola. We've gone over the lineup. Both are going to play a factor in what our three keys are to get the job done tonight and advance to the National League Divisional Round series against the Braves. Starting at number one, we have setting the tone offensively. Obviously, it's something the Phillies struggled with a little bit last night. Yes, I know they got out to a 3-0 lead around the 4th or 5th inning, but they left meat on the bone early on in that ball game. 2nd and 3rd, bottom of the 1st, you don't score. That's going to come around to play a key a little bit later on the show with us, Scotty. But I'm just talking about the fact that these big, the pop guys, like you can't have Alec Boehm and Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto step to the plate and allow that young pitcher to escape out of that. Same thing here with Braxton Garrett. Very good lefty, could give the Phillies some problems tonight. We'll see, but he's never, ever pitched in an environment like this. He's never, ever pitched to a lineup like this in a high leverage situation where every pitch, every at bat matters so drastically. One of the big guys, one of the thumpers, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. I know those are the two lefties, but Nick Castellanos, at one of them, has to set the tone tonight early, 1st, 2nd, 3rd inning with either a gap double for a 2-run RBI, a moonshot of a home run to say, welcome to the postseason, kid. They have to set the tone tonight and not allow this young lefty off the hook like they allowed for Luzardo. Obviously, I know they worked Luzardo. He was out through 4 innings. It was a great job by this lineup last night. But maybe it's even more different. Maybe it's a higher lead if they don't do what they did in the 1st inning last night.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And you can even throw Trey Turner into that mix of guys that you mentioned. He's 2 for 6 against Braxton in his career. Both of them are home runs. So he's homered off of him twice in all of his matchups with him. So he's another guy you can throw into the mix. Another guy that showed up last night pretty big. The next one, right? Aaron Nola. We talked about it to start the show here. The next key to victory. Aaron Nola not only getting off to a hot start, getting us innings, but finishing off innings, not getting stuck at 2 outs or 2 strike plays, right? We need him to get this team off the field and get that batting lineup on the field. So to that point, Aaron Nola must not only show up at the beginning, he needs to get us through this game and get us through it in a non-painful manner, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. 100%. I think the biggest thing with Nola finishing off innings, which is our second key, like you said, is the fact when you get to 2 outs, when you get to 0-2, 1-2 in counts, even if there's a base runner on second base with 2 outs, 0-2 count, you have to find ways if you're Nola with that swing and miss kind of stuff that he has.
Yeah.
With the off speed, with the running fastball up in the strike zone, you have to figure out ways to get out of the inning because that's something that plagued him the last couple years, especially earlier on this year, man. How many mornings will we get on the Faithful Fanatic show? How many game recaps will we get on here and scream about the fact that Nola cruised?
Yep.
Nola looked like Cy Young stuff through 3 innings, 4 innings. He'd get to an inning, he'd get 2 outs, he'd get 2 strikes, and then all of a sudden, single, home run, double, and he's still in the very same inning, and we're down 3-4-0.
Yep.
That cannot happen tonight. Not only for the fact that you cannot allow an early deficit against this team, and you don't want to have to play from behind, but those 2 strike hits, those 2 out runs and rallies are huge momentum swings in the postseason, man.
Confidence
You
breakers,
cannot
too.
allow this. Maybe the Phillies are winning 1-0 off of a Schwarber home run tonight, and it's the 3rd inning, and Nola has 2 outs and 2 strikes, and then all of a sudden, double, single, homer, and we're down 3-1 because he couldn't work himself out of an inning. That stuff cannot happen tonight. It's a momentum shift, and Aaron Nola needs to clean off his innings.
Yeah, no, you said it perfectly. And it breaks his confidence too when stuff like that happens. We can't afford it to, and we saw it in the very first game of this season, man, where that happened. We're up 5 runs on the Rangers, I believe, and boom, here comes Aaron Nola getting stuck in the 4th and 5th innings. We just can't have that.
Not at all.
So yeah, got to finish off the innings. Got to finish them strong, man.
Not at all, man. And to wrap up our keys to victory here, our 3rd key goes along with where I started our 1st key of setting the tone, and that is cleaning off your plate. Scotty, I don't know about you, but when I was younger and I would be at my aunt's house or I'd be home, the adults, my mom, my aunt, you better finish your food.
Yeah.
You better clean your plate.
Eat them vegetables.
The Phillies better clean off their plate tonight. And it's what we alluded to earlier on in the show, man. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Obviously, Dusty doesn't send Schwarber. Bryce makes an unproductive out, strikes out. And then JT pops up, right? Stuff like that cannot happen tonight. You cannot leave meat on the bone, food on the plate tonight. The Philadelphia Phillies need to hit better with runners in scoring position, need to hit for some pop tonight. Ultimately, I think they will as we get into our game predictions, but that needs to change. 3 for 14 with runners in scoring position ain't good enough. A leadoff double and no runs. Like we said, like that stuff cannot happen. 5 of the 8 innings, 6 of the 8 innings we hit for last night was led off with a leadoff runner.
Yeah.
Whether that be on first base or second base. You cannot only score 4 runs in that scenario, and one of them came from Bryce Harper's ass scoring from first base on a double to left field. So realistically, we're lucky we didn't only score 3 runs last night. They have to clean their plate tonight and come through when runners in scoring position, not letting Braxton Garrett or that Miami bullpen off the hook after early hits or walks.
Yes, sir. You mentioned it. 3 for 14 last night with runners in scoring position. First of all, against the Braves, you'll lose.
Yeah.
Straight up, you'll lose if that happens. But not to mention, it's the players where the opportunities came as well, right? You had Bryce Harper 0 for 3, Schwarber 0 for 1, Real Muto 0 for 2, and then Bohm 1 for 3. That's a combined 1 for 10 between those 4 guys. That's just not going to cut it when you're talking about the biggest bats on the team.
Yep.
So, got to be a turning point there tonight if you want to start not only finishing this series out in a timely manner, getting your guys some rest before the next series, but also getting prepared for your next series and who you're going to be facing, because the competition is going to stiffen a whole lot. So we haven't seen the Phillies' best ball by any means. We need to see it starting tonight, man.
I agree with you, man. And it'll be very interesting to see who kind of sets the tone early on. Obviously, Schwarber almost ties his season of singles and home runs last night with a leadoff single. Trey doubles to left field, and you're kind of sitting here like, all right, here we go. And that doesn't happen. So definitely something that cannot happen again tonight, although you would love to see some early base runners for the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's get to our best bet of the night. Last night, we backed manager Rob Thompson, and we went with the right-hander Christian Pache for a hit. It was almost free money. Now, again, there's always a risk. We talked about it on the pregame show of him getting the hook. I think it's at risk again tonight. If a righty comes in the game, they're going to put Marsh in. Obviously, defensively, you lose or gain something there with Marsh to Pache. It doesn't matter much. It's not like Schwarber's out and left. So you would expect maybe Pache not to play a full 9 innings tonight.
Yeah.
He was able to come through anyway with a base hit last night. Tonight, we're looking at the man of the hour, as we spoke of about from the beginning of the show. Number 27, Mr. Aaron Nola. And I think this line is a little, I don't know, a little
disrespectful.
Disrespectful, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
when you said it to me, I was like, oh, that's the line.
Yeah, 15 and a half outs recorded over under for Aaron Nola. We are taking the over. It was at minus 140. It might have went up. I don't know if they shifted the line at all or not, but it was at minus 140 when I saw it. So that's basically 5 1/3 innings pitch for Nola tonight.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if I'm going to lay it. You and I know that we love to just stick with the money line. That's our other best bet. Just roll with your team to win. They lose, you lose, and they lose money. If they win, you're double happy, right? I cannot stand postseason, fandom where your team wins or your team's winning big at the end of the game. But, with the Sixers, I need 2 more rebounds from Joel Embiid, and he's coming out of the game because they're up by 20. And instead of being happy that the Sixers are advancing, I'm pissed off that I lost money on the Sixers. Same thing tonight. Like, if Aaron Nola has a high pitch count and goes 5 innings and doesn't get one more out, but the Phillies win and he had a nice outing through 5, I don't want to sour my mood by them advancing because I didn't get one more out from Aaron Nola. But if we had to give a play, that's where we're going, just like last night with Chris.
I was gonna say. So just to make it clear, we are hammering the money line. Sprinkle a little bit if you want to on Aaron Nola over those outs. So yeah, I'm with you, man. 5.1 innings. He's hit that mark even in his bad outings against the Marlins this regular season. He hit that mark. Over that mark twice out of the
let me check just to make sure that it's still there.
Yeah, it is. I see it right now. It's at minus 140 still on DraftKings.
It's taken a lot for me not to do it, man.
Yeah,
it really is. That his strikeouts as well, but more so his outs recorded. Is definitely an interesting play for me. But with that said,
sounds like you're gonna lay it. But
let's get to our game predictions. I think we kind of teased that and gave those away by saying we're hammering Phillies money line. I got the Phillies winning tonight. I had the Phillies advancing to the NLDS with a stress-free Thursday night. Not have to worry about an elimination win or go home just yet. I think they get the job done. I think Aaron Nola, for whatever reason, there's no evidence. There's no facts. There's no numbers I can look at that say you should be confident in Aaron Nola. It's just the magic of this ball club. It's the magic of the atmosphere at Citizens Bank Park. It's the magic of the moment. And I have a weird feeling you get dynamic stuff from Aaron Nola tonight. I have a weird feeling you get close to double-digit strikeouts, and he works his way through this lineup, and the Phillies become victorious. I have a feeling one of the big guys goes yard tonight for a multi-RBI home run, whether that's Schwarber, whether that's Harper, whether that's Nick Castellanos from the right side. I think one of them blows the top off this game, and I think the Phillies come away with a big-time win tonight to advance to play the Braves.
Yeah, obviously, I'm right there with you, man. I think Nola comes out. I think it's one of those things like last night, right? How we looked at the Marlins, we looked at Luzardo, we looked at the Phillies lineup, the numbers against Luzardo in the season. The numbers didn't really support the Phillies having any success against him, yet he was gone by the 4th inning, right? Mm-hmm. So nonetheless, I'm going with a gut feeling here that the Phillies are just better. Nola is just good enough, right, to beat the Marlins. And I think he shows his stuff tonight. And I also think the Phillies show up big, the big bats, as you mentioned. It doesn't really – while I felt like last night it was great game plan, great execution of a game plan, it was nothing close to the Phillies' best baseball. No. And I think we're going to start to see that tonight. Phillies postseason type baseball where the big bats, the big names are active. And yeah, maybe you do get some help from Pache and Rojas at the bottom of the lineup, but maybe you don't need it at the end of the night, right? And that's what I'm looking for tonight. I want to see this team come out, take care of business against a team that kind of, as we talked about on the morning show today, Jazz Chisholm, right, comes in talking about he's an alien, all of this.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out what planet you are from,
Yeah.
my man. We'll find out tonight when we send you back to it. But nonetheless, man, I'm going with the Phillies. Big win tonight. I'm going to go 6-2. Phillies win over the Marlins at home.
When we gas up that spaceship for you, brother, we'll let us know where we're sending you back to tonight, Chaz. I think it's a great point, man. The fact that this team played B to B minus baseball last night and still came away with a three run victory was pretty big. And while last night was a great reminder of how this team can beat you in multiple different ways, how they don't necessarily need the long ball, how just a bunch of different stuff that went right. There was also a decent amount of negatives with the runners in scoring position, like we said, with the third base, coach issues and everything like that. So when you look at it that way, it's like there's like we said, meat on the bone. There was so much left to look forward to, where you just kind of expect that tonight. The weather's beautiful. The ball might be flying out of that ballpark tonight. It could go both ways. It could go for the Marlins as well, but you just expect it to go the Phillies' way tonight, and I think it will, man. I think the Phillies come away with a big win.
What do you think about the crowd tonight? Are they crazier than last night? It's an elimination game.
I think so. I think they're there. And here's why. Because that taste, right? And they're going to smell blood in the water. We're ready. But you're that one win away from getting the Atlanta Braves back in Philadelphia. And that's what a lot of people are craving. And now, you can't look forward yet if you're the Phillies. Obviously, us as fans, we can't even look forward yet. And you got to play 2 games in Atlanta first, where you just hope to split. And we'll get into all of that if they get there. But the bottom line is Atlanta will be coming here. And this fan base knows that. And this fan base knows you're one win away from doing so. They also know they don't want to have to come back tomorrow night and try to get this job done in a 1-win, elimination type of style of game. Let's end it tonight. Nola has a lot to prove. Bryce Harper didn't have a great game last night in the box. Let's clean some things up. Let's get after another lefty, and let's advance tonight and get the extra rest for our pitching staff. And I think the fans know that, and I think that they'll show up in a big way, man. So Phillies win. Aaron Nola over 15.5 outs recorded is our best bet. Also hit the money line as well. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM Media, have a great rest of your night. Ring the bell. Happy Red October.
Let's go fighting.
Go Phils. Go fighting. Said. Have a great rest of your night.